And now for another lesson in working with Microbel. In this next video, I want to go through the process on how we can add a 2D cross-section drawing of a piece of hardware. So we're going to work on a door drawer cabinet, and the drawer slide I want to show up on our 2D cross-section. There's a whole bunch of other 2D drawing tokens that you can add to your product, but this one is going to be specific to the subassembly. If you're ready, let's open up that project and get into this next lesson. So we're inside of a new project, and I've just drawn a one door, one drawer base cabinet and the cross-section. From the globals, I have the Bloom Legger box coming in as the drawer option. To make this easy, we'll go ahead and change this to a wood drawer box and work on adding that drawer slide to our 2D cross-section drawing. Currently, we're just getting that drawer box, but I want to show that hardware as well. So follow along and I'll show you the process on how we can add that drawer slide to our 2D cross-section drawing. First thing that we need to do is get an image or a block created of that drawer slide. So just changing to a Southwest view, and then let's isolate the drawer slide. Now UE on the keyboard, so we can go to an east view or side view. And the next command is going to be a flat shot. So this is an AutoCAD command that allows us to take a 3D product or basically any image in model space and turn it into just a 2D flat drawing. I'm going to hit export to file. We don't need to insert it into this drawing yet. I want to insert it into the product. So create that file and put it inside of our graphics folder. So you got to navigate your way here to your common microvellum data. Make sure you select the correct configuration if you do have more than one. And now inside of the graphics folder, you can place it inside of any one of these folders. Hardware seems to make the most sense for this one. Call it 2D new drawer slide block. Then hit that create button and we have a block that's ready to use inside of our product. Now open up that DWG file of that new block and make sure we have it at the correct insertion point. So again, just going into your configuration and finding that drawing block. So a little trick, if you don't see it when you open up the DWG file, just double click on that center mouse wheel and it'll automatically bring anything inside of that drawing into view. Okay, so that's our drawer slide. It looks good. To double check our insertion point, I'm just going to draw a line and start it at 0, 0, 0. So that's going to be our insertion point of this drawer slide. And because I don't know exactly where we need it to be, I'm just going to move that corner to 0, 0, 0, and then do the AutoCAD mirror command so we have that drawer slide facing to the left. Okay, so now we got that. Let's make sure we close and save that drawing. Back into our project. We'll end that object isolation. And now into edit design data of the wood drawer box subassembly. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we are working on just this one subassembly. You do have this other subassembly inside of each one of your products that have other drawing tokens that are specific to just the local product. But I want this one to be inside of the subassembly. So the first thing that I want to do is go to our prompts tab and see if we have another draw block token that's already in here that we can use. Okay, so it doesn't look like we do, but that's really the best way to get started adding these drawing tokens to your product. Just find something that's already existing, just copy it and make some modifications. So let's open up our finished faces subassembly, because in here I know we do have some draw block tokens. Now into the prompts tab and scrolling over, finding our 2D cross-section instructions. Scroll all the way up to the top and there's the first one that I see is a draw block and it's looking to a wire pull. So that's fine. We can, like I said, make some adjustments. Now we're going to copy just these cells and not the entire row. So the name of the drawing token and then over to parameter 9. Okay, now back into the L workbook, find that wood drawer box subassembly again, right click and show subassembly file. Same thing over to the prompts, scrolling over. And there's our cross-section instructions. Hit F2 and we can expand that cell. Well, currently this is just looking to a formula, but we don't necessarily need to have this formula driven right now. It's just going to be a draw block. And parameter 1, we'll just turn that to 0. We need to have some value in there. So that's going to be the X position. Now the position in Y, let's also just set this to 0 for right now. The location of that block drawing, again, this is formula driven, but all you really have to worry about is getting the name correct. So right now it's currently going to be looking to the graphics folder and then under hardware, and then however that file was named. It'd be a lot better if I just went in here and actually copied the whole thing. Don't forget that .dwg. Now apply formula. And also we want to make sure that we have the word end written in between brackets here. Start a bracket, all caps, and close that bracket. And this is a way that Toolbox knows to stop searching for different cross sections inside of here. I think this is really more of just a performance thing, but it's always a good idea to have that after your last drawing token. We'll save, close, and redraw. And we're going to save it back to the product. All right, so let's take a look and see what we got for a cross section. So the location isn't exactly right. So I'm going to go into the subassembly again and try to find something under the hardware parts. Let's see if this will point us in the right direction on our location in X and Y. So there's our drawer slide. You can see there it's not giving us anything for the X, Y, and Z origin. If we go back to our cut parts, there we have our drawer slide left and drawer slide right. Now our X origin, Y origin, and Z origin. I'm just going to copy those. I'm going to do it this way. We're going to paste this in our X and Y. And then what we can do is change the insertion point. So save, close, and redraw. Okay, so because our 0, 0, 0 insertion point was at the corner of this drawer slide, we'll just go back into that drawing block and make that change. So back into the DWG file, we're just going to move the drawer slide using AutoCAD commands. And now that first hole is our 0, 0, 0 insertion point. So after you've selected your base point, hold down Shift and hashtag or the number sign, and then 0, 0, 0. And now that changes our insertion point. You can also use the @ symbol to do that, but I've found that using that number sign or hashtag works better for some reason in AutoCAD. I don't know why, something with like absolute value. I don't know. Don't take my word for it, but it does work better. Now just save and close out of that DWG, back into our project. Make sure you select that drawing block that's already been inserted in the drawing. Delete that, because if you don't, this isn't going to work. Now our purge command. So what we're doing is we're purging something out of this drawing that no longer is actually drawn. We'll just find that drawing block because it recognizes that name. So if there's something telling AutoCAD to use that name again and draw something, it's going to find that original drawing. But I'm just going to purge that checked item. Now we can redraw our product. Well, that looks a lot better. We got our holes lined up with our drawer box. And if you want it facing the other direction, you don't have to do anything else. The program will flip it automatically. Okay, now let's just do a test and change the size of our drawer front. See if that drawing token moves with it. It should, so let's just double check. And that's because we use the formulas from that hardware. Now you will need to repeat these steps and make more 2D hardware blocks if you want one for each slide length and type. And that's how you can add a little bit more detail to your shop drawings. So obviously we were only working with the subassembly drawing token, but you can add as many drawing tokens as you want through the 2D instructions subassembly as well. So thanks for joining me and have a great rest of your day.